Hey guys, how's it going? It's Bob. This is week 2 of our draft league, and we're gonna go over this new match. Forgive me, I'm a little sick, but we're just gonna keep pressing on. And the whole point of this channel is just practice at this content creation thing and get better. And um, you know, uh, not every week is a perfect product that we're gonna put out, but we're gonna get better every week. So this is week 2, um, and we are up against the Washington Spirit Tubes. Um, I'm very familiar with this player. This is actually my brother. We do this together. He's my number one scrim partner in the league. Um, Generally, every week we are each uh, looking at each other's matchup and kind of being the I'll play the role of his opponent and kind of develop a team against him, and he does the same for me, and we practice against each other. This week, it's the week of Christmas, so we've had limited time anyway, and we obviously didn't do that since we're playing against each other, so that kind of worked out. Um, but I do know some of his tendencies and the way that he plays and prepares, what he might bring. So here's our two rosters. I have a This is a Reg F draft league where everybody took one restricted in the very first round, and then um, we continued on via snake draft like that. He had the second pick and took Miraidon. Uh, I had the 13th pick and still had Groudon there. And I wouldn't call what I drafted a Sun team. I have some Sun synergy, but I'm not reliant on the Sun to function. Um, he does have the Prankster Whimsicott. This is the order that he drafted as well, from left to right, and then Electabuzz was fourth. Um, so what are we expecting from him? We're thinking that the restricted comes every game. I think it's very likely that Whimsicott comes. Urshifu likely comes just because it costs so much and you kind of want to get value out of that. I think one of these Iron Mons will come to kind of work alongside the electric terrain. And I think Gyarados is really strong into me. I don't have a way to really punish Intimidate, and its typing is very strong against me as well. I don't have too many great ways to deal with it. So I think that it'll come. Uh, If he wants to try and contest the weather, he might with the Vulpix, kind of akin to how I'm gonna contest the weather here with Grookey, or the terrain with Grookey. So that'll be an interesting little sub theme throughout our match. I think is the weather war vice the terrain war and how that all plays out. Um, so yeah, I'd be expecting him to try and win speed control through Whimsicott and Tailwind. He doesn't really have Trick Room options offensively, but he does favor running Prison, Iron Valiant. This thing also has Wide Guard, and I would expect to see that to try and combat a Trick Room mode from me. So we'll see how that plays out as well. Um, let's see the type matchup chart here. That was me thinking to myself, okay, I need to figure out how to mute my mic so I can clear my throat. But we'll learn that for the next week, all right? Type matchup chart. Um, what stands out to me here, this is against his team, is that he has no fairy resist, and it does strong against some of his strongest Pokemon. That makes my Sylveon very strong. That's my only fairy stab, but it also makes maybe a Terra Blast option with fairy very strong as well. Um, Flying does well against him as also. Often I like the acrobatics roaring moons. That becomes an option for me. And poison does just as well as fairy here with some good options. I don't really have a poison stab available to me. Ice really kind of overlaps with these other two. I don't have an ice stab. And fire, hey, I'm a sun team, right? So I can at least threaten some of this. But the biggest takeaway here is the fairy weakness to or the weakness that he has to fairy. Just a quick glance at the speed tiers here. Miraidon's gonna be faster than anything on my team. Roaring Moon with photosynthesis, I have the ability to make Roaring Moon faster than Miraidon with the photosynthesis boost. I could run like uh, a booster energy and be faster than Miraidon, but I really opted, as we'll get into it, I opted for the attack. He's adamant, and I opted for the attack. Otherwise, his guys are just faster. If Persian comes, Iron Valiant can be faster. On the left here, you're looking at a maxed out speed. This is a positive nature, max IVs and EVs. And over here, this is what I would consider neutral speed, where there's no speed investment via EVs and it's a neutral nature. So if we look at the bottom half here, if I were to bring a Trick Room mode, I could get Groudon, Sylveon, and Bronzong, and Raging Bolt and Grookey. They could all be, on the slower side of things and function well under Trick Room. Uh, Whereas he's more built to do on the faster side. So what did we opt for? Uh, First up, I'm bringing Grookey. I do want to contest the terrain. I think his team is a lot stronger with the electric terrain. I think it'll be interesting to try and fight this way. Thinking back to the speed tier, because Grookey's slower than Miraidon when he comes into play. If they both get sent out like in the lead, Grookey's Grassy Surge will be the one thing left standing because it activates second. He's got a focus sash on him, and I have no real desire to try and live more than the two hits that affords me. We're just doing attack and speed on Grookey. If that ever comes into play, he's going to come in with fake out, and then probably switch out. But we have some other moves here just in case he needs them. Grookey's there to lay down the terrain, fake out, and then probably leave to do it again. If he needs to, he can use knockoff as support. He can screech as support, which might be kind of interesting. He is um, under Trick Room. He'd be going first, I believe. I think that's how I did it up. He'd be going first, so I could like screech and then Groudon could hit or something like that. Um, and then Grassy Drain to manually set it up again if we need to. We have Roaring Moon as the next member of the team here. Um, with booster energy, so not relying on the sun in order to have that boost. Um, we are going Terra type Fairy with Terra Blast. We have the Stab knockoff. We did do Adamant to try and max out his this is as high as his attack goes. We have Acrobatics because the booster energy will always get consumed, and then we have no items. This is pretty strong, even though we don't have Stab. I like to bring Terra flying with Acrobatics often, but I think that the Terra Fairy is better here, both because a lot of his team can have Dazzling Gleam, just get incidental contact with Fairy. So I feel like I need a defensive Fairy type, Terra type, and Fairy, as we saw, just hits a lot of his team neutral or super effectively, including the heavy hitters like Miraidon. We have Thunderfang as Gyarados coverage because I do think that Gyarados can switch into most of my team and cause problems. I don't have a way to punish and intimidate, so if he comes in and hits the Roaring Moon with an Intimidate, I want to be able to hit him back with Thunderfang. So this kind of sets up a strategy of protect the Roaring Moon. I think Roaring Moon matches up really well against this whole team, and if I Terra it into a Terra type of Fairy, it's real defensive, and I'm going to try and keep it alive. So I'm keeping it alive via Grookey Fake Out, and via the Grassy Train, and I'm going to bring Magmar alongside it most likely. Um, to try and protect it via like follow me. We're just doing a defensive grass terror type, the flame body, that makes things Magmar can lay burns on things that make contact with it. This defensive spread here just kind of maximizes my bulkiness. I thought about focusing one direction or the other, but I just couldn't decide if I wanted to max them out, special or defensive, so I just kind of did a middle ground of both. We do have Will-O-Wisp here. We could burn the Gyarados. Looking back to his week one match, he did bring a Terra Fire Gyarados, and I think he used that Terra type. Um, but he also had like Temper Flare on the Gyarados, so it helped him with a stab move. I don't know if he'd be bringing that against me, but he might. What I'm saying is he might try and dodge Will-O-Wisp via Terra Type of Fire, but we're bringing Thunder Punch for Gyarados too, just in case. We've got Overheat to just hit something really hard once. Especially if that's in the sun, Magmar, even with his attack or his low offensive stats, he can still hit. Yeah, I know we have minus attack and Thunder Punch, but it's times 4 against Gyarados. We'll get enough out of it. It'll be a 2-shot either way if he doesn't Terra. Of course, our restricted is coming. We've got Groudon. Note that in this league, you're not allowed to Terra. You're restricted. So this Terra type of bug is actually inaccurate. Um, there's just you're not allowed to Terra. They're restricted. We're maxing his attack, and going down on the speed in order to have Groudon be able to operate in Trick Room. And we are trying to get as much damage out as we can with the Life Orb. We are going to run Life Orb and Protect. I thought about Choice Band, but I like being able to switch up moves, especially when he has options like Wide Guard. I just want to avoid things like, Prankster, Encore on Protect, that kind of thing. He does have fast Encore users, so let's not get punished there. I didn't bring a lot of Protect this week overall because of both Urshifu and his access to a fast Protect, or a fast Encore rather. But Groudon does need it, especially like in a turn one where we want to Protect and set up Trick Room at the same time. So this guy, he's here. These other moves are pretty standard. Thunder Punch to be able to hit Gyarados super effectively because ground and fire obviously don't do it. Sylveon with Pixelate, of course. Terra type of Fairy just to get more damage, and we're doing Throat Spray. We thought about Specs, but opted for the throat Spray because we don't want to get shut down by Wide Guard completely. We're maxing out as much special attack as we can with Modest and the 252. Hyper Voice to activate Throat Spray and to hit things. This is probably what we're clicking 90% of the time, but we have the option to do single target with Moonblast, and we can do Wish Detect if we need to. Detect, nice little benefit of if he were to combat my Trick Room via Imprison, um, be harder to shut that down by having Detect versus Protect. And we've already talked about how Fairy does well into his team. Bronzong, this guy's gonna set up Trick Room. He's gonna do a lot. So he's got. I opted for Heat Proof over Levitate. I'm not running any of my own Earthquakes. That was an option on Roaring Moon. I thought about it a lot, especially with like Miraidon and Electabuzz. But we're gonna go with Heat Proof to try and live things like the aforementioned Temper Flare on Gyarados and um, mainly the Overheat on Miraidon. So this is basically a max specially defensive Bronzong, thinking that he needs to be able to set up a Trick Room facing down Miraidon and um, Iron Valiant lead. And to do that, he's going to be able to live, he needs to be able to live an overheat from Miraidon. Um, and so we need as much special defense as we can get. Um, he set up with Heavy Slam, actually does a surprising amount of damage to like Whimsicott and Miraidon and all the guys that take super effective from steel. Ice Spinner is, I don't know why the text isn't there on the slide here. Sorry about that, but Ice Spinner will remove the effects of terrain. So we're going to, this is like kind of our secondary way of fighting that terrain war. And then Reflect and obviously Trick Room. Trick Room paired with the Mental Herb and a Terra type of Dark helps us against Whimsicott to get that actually set up. So that's kind of our that's our six. Um, I'm thinking about two different modes. One is Grookey with a Roaring Moon, and we kind of just protect and support the Roaring Moon via Fake Out, via Terrain Control, and then switching into like Magmar and Follow Me. The second mode that we have is the Sylveon Groudon Trick Room with Bronzong. And then probably with Roaring Moon in the back after Trick Room's done or never got set up, still have that option for the Roaring Moon to outspeed and clean up as a sweeper. We didn't bring Tailwind this week. We only have the option via Roaring Moon and Jump Luff, and Roaring Moon just his four moves were too hotly contested, trying to get coverage of the whole team. So we're not bringing our own Tailwind. We're gonna have the Terrain Wars as we've already mentioned. And let's remember, play around Wide Guard, don't get Encored. All right. I think that's all of our preparations. Let's head on over into the battle. All right, let's see if he's ready. And forgive me, I'm going to try and like take some notes here as we go too. But yeah, here we go. Ourselves a little music maybe. If that works, I don't know. At minimum, we'll have sound effects. So let's see, what did he bring? And I'm taking some notes off to the side here too as we go. So Miraidon wins. He did bring Vulpix, and then Iron Vet. So this is pretty much what we expected. We were thinking maybe Electabuzz instead of Vulpix could have come, but he did opt to try and fight us with the weather. Um, I'm gonna take notes on his Terra types here, so I have it just off to the side where I can reference it. So a Steel wins, so that does negate the heavy slam that we had planned with Bronzong. Flying on Urshifu is interesting. It makes him neutral to Fairy. Electabuzz is not coming. Iron Leaves is not here. Gyarados is here, and he is Terra Ground. So we have what, three different things that try and combat that via Thunder and Electric rather, and that is no longer an option to us if we were to use this Terra there, which I think is probably going to happen. We don't have a lot that does well against ground, but we can hit it neutrally pretty easily. Iron Valiant is grass, both defensive and offensive, I guess. Maybe it might have some grass moves. Grass is good against me. Obviously, ground on takes super effective from grass, even under sun. And full picks is ground as well. That's one that I don't know why. We don't know any items yet. We don't know any moves yet. So let's just pick our starters here. We're just going to lead with Grookey Roaring Moon. Like I said, Magmar, and then we will protect the moon and alright. So he is worried about the trigger mode. He sees it kind of coming. Um, Opens up with Intimidate. So let's see. We have Roaring Moon, and he is at -1. But against Gyarados, Thunderfang is not quite enough to kill, depending on how defensive he is. But it probably is not a one shot. So what are we going to do? We're definitely faking something out. Um, Not ideal. Not worried about taunt from Gyarados. I mean, Gyarados might just be clicking Waterfall here and not doing too much, unless it's going to try and set up Dragon Dance. I think we'll just fake out the... Man, it's attack on the Iron Valiant. Let's just think through this for a second. Um, Attack on the Iron Valiant. Let's just fake out the Gyarados, and we're gonna Terra because it's probably gonna use Spirit Break, and we're gonna use Acrobatics against the Iron Valiant. And it's gonna have to be a two-shot. We wanted a one-shot, but it just never came. I feel bad for taking so long because he might not have been quite. Alright. Man, Spirit Break, even neutrally, it's very hard. Alright. Well, we're threatening a kill here on the Iron Valiant now. Let's bring in the Magmar, and let's... it was not Covert Cloak on him, at least we know that now. And I am not interested in losing my Roaring Moon here. But I don't think it can be avoided. Um, let's just use Knockoff. Switch to Magmar and use... Maybe we'll just weaken this too. Use Thunderfang against Gyarados. Before it gets Sarah. Alright, good. He protected over here. That's nice. Oh, and we got a flinch. That's really, really strong for us. We're gonna follow me, and I wish I had a spread move here, but we don't. this thing is not going to be able to protect, so we're going to use acrobatics to try and take it out, I think. He might switch, but we just, I mean, he would have to switch into, it's not like he can switch into Urshifu into acrobatics coming at Iron Valiant. It would have to be something like a Miraidon, which is not wanting to take acrobatics. Our issue is that we got photosynthesis speed instead of photosynthesis attack, so we lost our ability to one-shot everything here. Alright, whims. I think we can just go for an overheat on the whims. I don't think that it's Moonblast, and I think he's running Dazzling Gleam anyway, but I don't think that it's Moonblast would be able to kill Magmar from here. So let's just overheat, and then let's use knockoff. We'll just get a stab dark move on whatever is coming into this slot. If this stays great, we might learn the item too. Tailwind comes, we're still faster, and we learn that Gyarados is Assault Vest. Let's make a note of this. AB, he had one. Iron Valiant had that Spirit Break thing, and it has Protect. And, oh great, the overheat played out well, and those got used Tailwind, and we're good there. Alright, taking notes, so the good to keep going. Alright. Air Balloon Miraidon, huh? That's kind of cool. I like it, yeah. But we did not attempt to combat Miraidon via ground moves, so that works well for us. Let us follow me and Terra Blast Fairy on the Miraidon. And it is faster, of course, under Terra. Magmar thankfully takes the hit, but we activate. We're going to come back in with Kruki. Get rid of the terrain. This is his last Pokemon. We're going to use a Fake Out. We know that he can't have the thing. And we know it's Air Balloon, so we don't need to knock off. We're just going to use Terra Blast again. Alright, that worked out well. Played out very well, actually, for us. What do we want to do in game 2? Do we try and bring the Trick Room mode, or do we just keep up with what we had? And that opening, I feel like, did really well, and if he doesn't leave with Gyarados, it's even better. So, like, that's like a bad situation for me, honestly. I think we're only... I think let's just make him try and have an answer to these 4, you know? I think it played out exactly how we wanted it to. Well, that's not true. The Gyarados lead is tough because it messes up photosynthesis and it messes up the calcs that we've done to try and get one-shots with Roaring Moon. But I feel like he's the one that feels like he might need to make a change. So if he has to make a change, then maybe Gyarados is going first. No such luck. Oh, what are we thinking? Another Fake Out. Terra Fairy, Terra Blast. Or it could just be Acrobatics. It's the Terra type of Urshifu is Flying. And he knows that I have Terra Blast Fairy, so let's go with like the assumption that he's gonna Terra. If we really want to, we could like Thunder Fang it. That'd be interesting. Or he might just Protect, right? Detect. Yeah. Let's no, it takes too long, but turn 1 always takes a long time. Maybe we just knockoff. Yeah, that'd be like really calling it. We'll just acrobatics. Okay, he does protect. We fake out. Could have Thunderfanged over there, I suppose. I'm gonna stick to the plan. Switch out into Magmar. And he's gotta either Terra or switch this. I don't think he can stand. I mean, he just saw me try and hit it. Let's knock off. Let's read it. Let's read a swap or a Terra and get to learn what the item is. Might just be a sash, which is kind of like irrelevant on a knockoff. But you know, let's right. Because I just don't think there's any way that he just sits there in front of, you know, he just protected Terra Blast. Yeah, he does Terra. It is a sash. Alright, Iron Head. Set the sun. He's Terra flying. So Gyarados was Assault Vest, is that right? So he doesn't have like Lumberry or the Burn Berry. So let's go with a Will-O-Wisp onto Gyarados. And I'd like to just kind of keep this Gyarados here, not doing anything, right? I want to like keep it stuck here, burned and ineffective. And then let's just Heat Crash on the Urshifu. And then, like, when we need to, we can Thunder Punch the Gyarados out. But, like, I'm in no rush to do that because if we can just keep it ineffective, I'd rather do that. Missing the Will-O-Wisp is not great. We're definitely in a worse spot than we were first game, obviously. Miraidon probably, yeah, Miraidon does come out here. He's got the air balloon, so we can't even hit it with Precipice Blades. Not that we love that with the Gyarados in here. But this is going to be a tough Electro Drift. Are we thinking we switch into Grookey to get rid of the terrain? I think let's do that, and then we will Thunder Punch over at the Gyarados. I'm thinking he probably overheats at my Groudon. Or Draco Meteor. I mean, what's like a Heat Crash? Groudon against Miraidon. Yeah, that's okay. I don't know what I clicked. Grookey. Thunder Punch. Oh, poor Grookey. Oh, never mind. Alright, unfortunate. We're in trouble. Fake Out can pop the air balloon. And Overheat is going to be our only option to kill this Miraidon. Wonder if he has Protect. Be nice to learn. Oh, we're never killing this. nothing else to learn here. I think we're just kind of conceding. So let's not give out any info that we don't need to. Just click fig out again. Well, let's use knockoff. Hey, we hit. We knew that the characters would be trouble. Alright, so for game 3, let's go with the trick room mode, huh? You know, I think the Roaring Moon is still the key piece here, the centralizing piece, but we need to be able to get it in with a photosynthesis boost that does not get eaten up by this Intimidate. It's messing us up. So, Gyarados does have Iron Head against Sylveon. So, I know we're leading Bronzong for Trick Room. And do we want to lead with Sylveon or Groudon? I think it's Sylveon, because we want Groudon in the back to be able to kind of pair with Roaring Moon to get the photosynthesis boost. Also, with Air Balloon, makes it a little bit harder to kind of get things going, right? With the Groudon. So let's start. Okay. So this is where we are max special defense on the Bronzong, and we need to be able to eat an Electro Drift. And that's not something that we can do, is it? We do it sometimes. Oh wait, no, that's only if he respects, because that's how I was counting. When he's Air Balloon, we always let Electro Drift. I'm sorry. So we're good. We're gonna Terrestrialize to Dark in order to prevent things from Whimsicott. I mean, it could taunt and I have the Mental Herb, but I don't think the Mytera is... Maybe Mytera is important. Maybe we don't Terra. We'll just cast Trick Room. And let's activate the... Well, if he's going to Electro Drift here on the Sylveon, did that kill me? I did put... Oh no, I'm just HP. No, I live Electro Drift too. So let's just get this active. Because the thought is we could just attack. We'll just Hyper Voice. Fake Tears. We should have detected. That was a good play. We should have detected. That would have been great. Alright, but we do have Trick Room. Bronzong is slower than Groudon, so we can use Bronzong to pop the balloon and cast Precipice Blades. Added benefit of getting rid of electric terrain if he were to stay in, but I'm thinking he might not even keep Miraidon in, but we'll see. Really unfortunate that we didn't protect the Sylveon there. That was well played on his part. I should have thought about Fake Tears, you know, instead of, you know, you see the Whimsicott and you think that it's going to try and shut down the Trick Room, right? No, that I never tarried him. So he just, I never actually tarried the Bronzong. So he does take the Fake Tears. That's okay. He might not have another special attacker with him, other than Williams and stuff. What happened? Okay, it didn't. Corkdorite attack. Let's lay down a Reflect. And he has not Terra'd yet, right? Is grass on this Alien Valiant? Terra Grass, Terra Blast? It might just learn fighting, or grass moves that I'm not aware of. What do we... He Crash in the Sun does a whole lot. Doesn't one shot, but it's like 80%. And obviously if he tears, it kills him. So let's do that. Alright, he sees the Heat Crash coming. Throw a heavy slam, I think. At the Whims, maybe? Whims rarely has Protect. Heavy Slam will kill it. And then, do we go for Heat Crash again? Does anything really want to take a Heat Crash when it comes in? If he doesn't, swap it. Probably not. It's probably Gyarados. Thunder Punch. I'm not going to. But we could have. Maybe should have. I really thought that would one-shot the Whims there. Oh, we took an Intimidate. We do have Reflect up. Last turn of Trick Room. He can go for the Encore again, although that's fine now. So let's just go for the Heavy Slam again. And Thunder Punch. And see if Gyarados has Protect or not. Yeah, we'll Encore that. Thunder Punch. Looking good for this. Alright, what do we think this thing hits us with? Do we just switch in to Roaring Moon? We still have our booster energy. So we're gonna be faster unless it's like... No, it had a booster energy already. So it can't be like... scarfed. So we'll just Heavy Slam. Oh. Yeah, he's just kind of going for like, hey, maybe I protect and play too passive and can't kill him. Alright, hey, good game. I appreciate you guys watching this. You know, I was sick, the audio is probably really bad, and this is like literally the first YouTube video I've ever recorded. But I'm doing this for fun. I'm doing this to, you know, get better at doing this type of stuff. So subscribe if you want to check it out, and like, comment, do all that stuff that you're supposed to do. And I appreciate everybody. Thanks. See you for week 3.